今回は昨夜の山本投手の圧巻の投球について、試合前にブレイクスネル投手が語ったインタビューの様子を見ていきます。それでは行ってみましょう。日本時間5月22日、ドジャースの大谷翔平選手は本拠地で行われたダイヤモンドバックス戦に1番指名打者で先発出場をしました。この日の大谷選手は4打数ノーヒットと快音は聞かれずも、ドジャースは1対3の逆転勝利。またこの日は試合前に2度のサイ・ヤング賞を獲得しているブレイクスネル投手が地元局のインタビューに応じ、昨夜の山本投手のピッチングについて言及しました。昨夜の山本投手は7回の先頭打者に初安打を許すまでノーヒットピッチングの圧巻の投球を見せ、両軍のファンを魅了させるピッチングを披露しました。スネル投手はこのピッチングに、もう本当に昨日の山本は何でもできていましたね。7回の終わりに三振に取った球、あれも美しかったですと大絶賛のコメントをしました。ここからは試合前のブレイクスネル投手のインタビューの様子、そして大谷選手の打席時の両軍の現地実況の様子を見ていきます。
Report brought to you by Keck Medicine of USC. Shohei Ohtani threw a light bullpen session today and mixed in some more breaking pitches into his routine. His next session will be at Citi Field in New York this weekend, with Dave Roberts mentioning a potential, quote, progression increase. What that means remains to be seen. All right, well, we're going to have more on tonight's game in just a moment, but first we are joined by a two-time Cy Young Award winner. It is Blake Snell joining us live from the dugout, putting the headset on. Blake, thank you so much for coming on with us. I know this has been a frustrating time for you being on the IL. I want to ask you, though, a little bit about something that you told your friend and our friend David Vassay recently, was that you were actually feeling a little bit something in that shoulder before your opening day starts. So I wanted to ask, how much did your desire to show out for your new team and your new fan base, and you just wanted to go out there and compete for these guys, and that was maybe factoring into your decision to pitch early on in the season?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was just pretty stubborn. I really wanted to pitch. I really wanted to pitch on opening day. Yeah, I've been waiting a while to do, to pitch, and I finally, had the opportunity. I felt good enough. But then, pushing it, obviously now looking back, it's probably the wrong decision, but I don't regret it.
Blake, what's going on? This is Jerry. I got a chance to run into you a few days ago on the field. I could see it on their face, the disappointment. You so badly want to be out there to help your teammates. But speaking of your teammates, you got a chance to see Yamamoto pitch a gem last night. What was he featuring, and how fun was it for you to be on the sidelines and see him really dominate last night?
Yeah, it was exciting. Most of the season, Yama just been fastball, split, and then he'll show the cutter, show the curveball. So it was cool to see a different Yamamoto yesterday. The curveball was pretty heavy, and then playing the fastball up, but also playing it down and away as well. He really could do it all yesterday. And then the splitter or was that a cutter to end the seventh inning against Pavin? I don't know. It was backdoor. That was beautiful as well. So just watching him, he's evolving as a pitcher. He's mixing it. They can't just sit fastball split. That game kind of showed that. So being able to watch him just evolve has been pretty exciting.
Hey, Blake, this is Nomar. I'm going to piggyback on that, and you're kind of touching on that. I was just curious, being on the IL, and as you're watching games, is it very similar to when you're in between starts? Are you looking more hitters, possibly the guys you're going to face, or are you looking more of what your own teammates are doing, your fellow pitchers are out there, like especially now on the IL? You were talking about Yamamoto. Are you really focused on your fellow pitchers, or are you still watching what the hitters are doing?
Yeah, a little bit of both. So, the guys that I'm talking to, having conversations with, you watch their games a little more intensely, and you try to find ways to help them, sequences, what do you like, what don't you like, how can you help them? So I do that just to help them, and then I watch the hitters, just get an idea of, when it is my time to pitch again, what would I do? What would I do differently? What do I see? And then there's the part of when you watch the hitters, you get frustrated because you keep seeing your teammates, every 5 days they get their turn, and then you're just like, man, you're just waiting on your turn, and it's not coming. But to be able to just watch and see all them. You know, it gets you ready for when, you know, my moment comes.
Well, Blake, you and Michael Conforto both grew up in the Seattle area, and when he was on our pregame show doing the headset with us a few weeks ago, he talked about you in high school, and he said he was a good pitcher, but then you hit some crazy growth spurt. Next thing you know, this guy's suddenly a beast. Is that an accurate assessment? Were you a little bit on the shorter side? And then if so, what was it like to have that growth spurt in high school?
Yeah, no, I was sophomore year, I was like 5'6", and then junior, like going into my junior year, I was 6'3", and yeah, I went from like, you know, crafty lefty, spotting up, and you know, like still getting hit, but could compete in the zone. And then by the time I started throwing in my junior year, it was different. I was like 92, 93. And I could actually pitch. I was really good at reading hitters because I had to, because I didn't have good stuff when I was small. And yeah, it just kind of took off.
I love that you and Michael Conforto have that. He got a chance to see you play in high school. I also played against and played with a guy named Mark Mulder who could flat out rake in high school. And he was just a decent pitcher, becomes an incredible pitcher, and couldn't hit anymore once he got to the big leagues, which was crazy to me. That being said, do you miss hitting at any time? Now that the DH is here, National League and the American League, you're a pretty good athlete. Do you miss having the bat in your hand?
I miss hitting in high school. I face like DeGrom, Woodruff, I face all these aces. I'm like, I don't want to face none of them. I like fouled the ball off Bueller. I fouled the ball off DeGrom, and I was like, that's a win. Yeah, hitting in the big leagues ain't fun at all. No, I'd rather pitch. I like to control the game. I don't like to be up there like, oh, I'm going to foul the ball, and then DeGrom goes slider, and I'm like, come on, man.
Well, hey, I want to go back to your team right now. Like, you know, your team, all teams, you know, they have their ups and downs. You know, like a player, hitter will go through some slumps. You know, as a team, you go through it. Hitting-wise, you're struggling. Defensively, even a team goes through struggles. And then even the pitching staff may go through bumps in the road. Right now, the pitching staff is kind of going through that bump for the Dodgers. I'm just wondering, what would be the message, or what would you tell your teammates as maybe the pitching staff that is going through these bumps?
Yeah, I mean, I truly think, you know, the bullpens, you know, they've been having to, you know, carry a lot of the load. I think it's just on the starters, try to get 6 or 7. I think if we can do that, it allows the bullpen to get a little more rest, a little more recovery, and then they'll start, you know, doing what they can do. It's just tough, man, when they got to pitch, you know, 3 games in a row and stuff like that. But I think, you know, the starters, we start going a little deeper in the game, and everything will just kind of settle, and we'll start, you know, taking off like we know we should be.
Well, Blake, you said you didn't like facing guys like DeGrom or Bueller when you had to bat. There are a lot of guys who do this for a living who don't like facing you, and they're not going to enjoy facing you once you get back on the mound. We look forward to your return here to the Dodgers rotation, and thank you so much for taking time with us today.
Thanks, Blake.
Thanks, Blake.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I can't wait.
Well, the 9-hole sets up the top of the order, and the guy at the top of the order is a thunderous bat in Shohei Ohtani. This ball just finding its way up the middle, doesn't find its way to the outfield, but soft enough and far enough away from Perdomo that it is a base hit.
Turn it over for Ohtani. Tying run on first, no outs in the 6th. The Dodgers trailing 1-0. Shohei is 0 for 2. Strikeout on the 1st, a ground out in the 4th. Turns this one around. Deep to right field, but Carroll is on the warning track to make the catch.
We've been watching Burns throw the cutter into lefties, and it looks like Ohtani was anticipating this one. And he just missed it.
But a jolt into the crowd, a scare into Burns.
Right there, just didn't have a good grip. Ohtani in the leadoff spot, 0 for 2. A check on Rojas over there at first. And struck out, grounded out. high in the air and deep to right. Corbin at the wall, and he's got it. It stayed in the yard. Just enough ballpark for the Diamondbacks that time, and Ohtani is 0 for 3. He got a cutter, and he nearly took it out of here.
Lost a lot of the carry because he hit it so high in the air. 95 cutter on the inside corner. Of course, the fans here at Dodger Stadium, every time he puts a ball in play, they think it's a home run. That one nearly was.
Well, as you said, pitch him in. Don't let him extend those arms.
いかがでしたでしょうか。このチャンネルでは日本人メジャーリーガーなどを中心に野球情報をお届けしています。この動画が良かったら高評価、チャンネル登録をよろしくお願いいたします。今回も最後までご覧いただきありがとうございました。それではまた次の動画でお会いしましょう。